Hello, good whenever, wherever you are, morning, afternoon, evening. Happy to see you already here. Let's just wait just one moment more. For others to come in. I hope you are well, everybody. I can, in the meantime, just to say something. I can tell that right after the last talk last week, I went to have my third vaccination. We call it the booster here in Germany. So I heard I had the third injection and I was knocked out again. So by now it's okay. So, but really, that whole week was kind of, felt like somebody had beaten me up or something, really painful. So, yes, I think people are coming in now. So, we do have an appointment today, or I have a promise that to keep. Yeah, much better. Even on Sunday, I felt still terrible, but now not all good, but all good enough. Still, the brain is a little bit slow, but the pain in the body is gone. So I have that promise to keep, that we are doing a guided meditation on metta today. And we will do, first thing, we will of course talk about a little bit about it, about metta, and I will read some texts, and then we will do some practice. And that might not be only about only about metta, but for today on the 4 Brahma Viharas. That's what I thought. We can go then next time into detail, and we'll see how that goes. But for today, I thought to read you first some of my very favorite. This is very on top of the list of my 84,000 favorite suttas. And that is the Simile of the saw, the Kakacupama Sutta. It is Majjhima Nikaya number 21. It's a very long sutta, and we won't read the entire thing. But what is important for us today to understand what it really means to have metta, to have that loving kindness. This is crucial for the understanding. And I think before we start sending out something we do not even know or we do not even have, I thought it would be good to go into the understanding a little bit first. So we are going straight to the last part of the sutta. That is where the Buddha starts with the similes. Bhikkhus, there are these 5 courses of speech that others may use when they address you. Their speech may be timely or untimely, true or untrue, gentle or harsh, connected with good or with harm, spoken with a mind of loving kindness or with inner hate. When others address you, their speech may be timely or untimely. When others address you, their speech may be true or untrue. When others address you, their speech may be gentle or harsh. When others address you, their speech may be connected with good or with harm. When others address you, their speech may be spoken with the mind of loving kindness or with inner hate. Herein, bhikkhus, you should train thus. Our minds will remain unaffected, and we shall utter no evil words. We shall abide compassionate for their welfare, with the mind of loving kindness, without inner hate. We shall abide pervading that person with the mind imbued with loving kindness, and starting with him, we shall abide pervading the all-encompassing world with the mind imbued with loving kindness, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. That is how you should train bhikkhus. Bhikkhus, suppose a man came with a hoe and a basket and said, I shall make this great earth to be without earth. He would dig here and there, strew the soil here and there, spit here and there, urinate here and there, and saying, be without earth, be without earth. What do you think, bhikkhus? Could that man make this great earth be without earth? No, venerable sir. Why is that? Because this great earth is deeper and immeasurable. It is not easy to make it be without earth. Eventually, the man would reap only weariness and disappointment. So too, bhikkhus, there are these 5 courses of speech, and as Bhikkhu Bodhi does in his book, I shorten here, but and do not repeat the ways of speech that can come upon us, and continue with, herein, because you should train thus. Our minds will remain unaffected, and we shall utter no evil words. We shall abide compassionate for their welfare, with a mind of loving kindness, without inner hate. We shall abide pervading that person with a mind imbued with loving kindness, and starting with them, we shall abide pervading the all-encompassing world with a mind similar to the earth, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. That is how you should train bhikkhus. Bhikkhus, suppose a man came with crimson, turmeric, indigo, and carmine and said, I shall draw pictures and make pictures appear in empty space. What do you think, bhikkhus? Could that man draw pictures and make pictures appear in empty space? No, venerable sir. Why is that? Because empty space is formless and not manifestive. It is not easy to draw pictures there or make pictures appear there. Eventually, that man would reap only weariness and disappointment. So too, because there are these 5 courses of speech. Herein, because you should train thus, our minds will remain unaffected, and we shall utter no evil words. We shall abide compassionate for their welfare, with a mind of loving kindness, without inner hate. We shall abide pervading that person with a mind imbued with loving kindness, and starting with him, we shall abide pervading that all-encompassing world with a mind imbued with loving kindness, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. That is how you should train bhikkhus. Bhikkhus, suppose a man came with a blazing grass torch and said, I shall heat up and burn away the river Ganges with this blazing grass torch. What do you think, bhikkhus? Could that man heat up and burn away the river Ganges with that blazing grass torch? No, venerable sir. Why is that? Because the river Ganges is deep and immense. It is not easy to heat it up or burn it away with a blazing grass torch. Eventually, the man would reap only weariness and disappointment. So too, bhikkhus, there are these 5 courses of speech. Herein, bhikkhus, you should train thus. Our minds will remain unaffected, and we shall utter no evil words. We shall abide compassionate for their welfare, with a mind of loving kindness, without inner hate. We shall abide pervading that person with a mind imbued with loving kindness, and starting with him, we shall abide pervading the all-encompassing world with a mind imbued with loving kindness, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility, without ill will. That is how you should train yourselves, bhikkhus. Because suppose there were a catskin bag that was rubbed, well rubbed, thoroughly, well rubbed, soft, silky, rid of rustling, rid of crackling. And a man came with a stick or a potsherd and said, there is this cat skin bag that is rubbed, rid of rustling, rid of crackling. I shall make it rustle and crackle. What do you think, bhikkhus? Could that man make it rustle and crackle with a stick or the potsherd? No, Venerable Sir. Why is that? Because that cat skin bag is rubbed, rid of rustling, rid of crackling. It is not easy to make it rustle or crackle with a stick or a potsherd. Eventually, the man would reap only weariness and disappointment. So, too, bhikkhus, there are these 5 chords of speech that others may use when you address them, and when they address you. Their speech may be timely or untimely, true or untrue, gentle or harsh, connected with good or with harm, spoken with a mind of loving kindness or with inner hate. When others address you, their speech may be timely or untimely. When others address you, their speech may be true or untrue. When others address you, their speech may be gentle or harsh. When others address you, their speech may be connected with good or with harm. When others address you, their speech may be spoken with a mind of loving kindness or with inner hate. Herein, bhikkhus, you should train thus. Our minds will remain unaffected, and we shall utter no evil words. We shall abide compassionate for their welfare, with a mind of loving kindness, without inner hate. We shall abide pervading that person with a mind imbued of loving kindness. And starting with him, we shall abide pervading the all-encompassing world with a mind similar to a catskin bag, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. That is how you should train, bhikkhus. Bhikkhus, even if bandits were to sever you savagely limb by limb with a 2-handed saw, he who gave rise to a mind of hate towards them would not be carrying out my teaching. Herein, bhikkhus, you should train thus. Our minds will remain unaffected. We shall utter no evil words. We shall abide compassionate for their welfare, with a mind of loving kindness, without inner hate. We shall abide pervading them with a mind imbued with loving kindness, and starting with them, we shall abide pervading the all-encompassing world with the mind imbued with loving kindness, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. That is how you should train. Bhikkhus, if you keep this advice on the simile of the saw constantly in mind, do you see any course of speech, trivial or gross, that you could not endure? No, Venerable Sir, Therefore, bhikkhus, you should keep this advice on the simile of the saw constantly in mind. That will lead to your welfare and happiness for a long time. That is what the Blessed One said. The bhikkhus were satisfied and delighted in the Blessed One's words. Yes, so now you know. um, this is really, this is so profound and so telling what it is about with this metta. And this is not an easy task. This is really what this metta is about, no? And the Buddha is even going so far as to say that when we do not have loving kindness in a moment, even when they sever us savagely, then we would not live his teaching. The last simile that he is giving is, I think even it comes out here, is a little bit exaggerated. It's taken from afar, or it's taken afar, because he wants to say, so even then you should keep a heart full of loving kindness. But he refers it back then to the speech, so that even then, when they were severed limb by limb, they should keep calm. And in fact, here all the 4 Brahma Viharas are mentioned in the original. This is a little bit, it's a little bit abbreviated. But in fact, we should keep to all the 4 Brahma Viharas. But loving kindness is mentioned actually the most. And although, compassion is also mentioned in this. But so let's go through it a little bit, what I read. So here it is referred to speech, but this refers to every situation that we can encounter. Not only speech. Mostly we will have to deal with speech that is, untimely, harsh, or with inner hate and so on, spoken with inner hate and so on. So although the Buddha makes it look in the beginning that it refers only to speech, we can adapt it to any situation that we can encounter with other people. They may be so or so, good or bad. And we shall try to react with a mind that remains unaffected, and we shall not utter any evil words, and we shall abide compassionate for their welfare, with a mind of loving kindness without inner hate. We shall abide pervading that person with a mind imbued with loving kindness, and starting with him, we shall abide pervading the all-encompassing world with a mind imbued with loving kindness, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. So then the first simile, the man comes with a shovel and a basket and wants to make that earth without earth. So with this first simile, the Buddha is saying that when we are like the earth, then somebody can spit and urine on us, can dig, can, so to say, harm us. But we're not affected by it. Because the earth is great and deep and immeasurable. And that is the first simile of how we can practice loving kindness. This is one possibility, to be like the earth. The Buddha is also speaking about that in different suttas. He's teaching this to his son Rahula in the Maharahula Vada. Also there he's speaking of metta, of course, to counteract thoughts of ill will. But here, clearly, this practice of may I be like the earth, even when somebody is digging, harming me, even when somebody is wanting to make me, to destroy me, it can't harm me, because this is so deep and profound, and this here or that out there, that where you are, that is so deep and so profound and cannot be destroyed. And that, for me, is the first thing that we should try. So, no, not fake it till you make it. Just learn to understand that you, that place and time that you perceive as yourself, that is immeasurable, that has such a power that anybody can come, blame you, harm you. It can't destroy you. So the trust within ourselves, within our strength, is indeed the first thing that we need to implement. So we're not trying to fake it until we make it, but we try to learn to really settle with that. We are enough. We're good. And that is, in fact, what nowadays is mostly learned or taught as the first thing when it comes to loving kindness. Namely, that you Have it for yourself. If you have loving kindness for yourself, you must become immeasurable. And that can, for example, happen with the implementing, with the truly understanding that what there is where you are, that those 5 khandhas are immeasurable. So the next, so whenever we are insulted or somebody comes and wants to harm us, we can go there and try to take it like the earth. You can just even go out and kick the earth and try it out. How is the earth reacting? If you stomp on it, if you try to harm it. How much? So take this as an example for when somebody insults you. So then the next one comes and tries to draw pictures and make pictures appear in empty space. And this, for me, it's like when somebody comes, and tells you stories and lies to you, tells you colorful stories about what they think and what they want and who they are and what not. So then the Buddha says, be like that space. Be like space. The color can't stick. Those stories can't stick. So if somebody lies to you, if somebody is chewing your ears off, be like earth. And there, with the earth, we can learn to be steadfast, to be steady, unshakable. With the earth, we can learn to be open. There is no boundary whatsoever. When we think of earth, there might be boundaries, there might be an end to earth, but not to space. So from earth, we should learn the solidity, being really unshakable, unshaken. From the space, we learn to be really without any boundary. So next thing that we have is the one that comes with the blazing grass torch. The grass torch is burnt down within 5 minutes. So of course it's not possible to burn and make the river Ganges, make it evaporate. So be like water, says the Buddha. Be like the water of the river Ganges. Just go past it, let it flow. Just let it flow away. And Never mind. It comes and passes and is gone already. So from that simile, we can learn to, even if somebody comes with a boiling, burning desire to harm us, to destroy us, we can just flow and extinguish the flame, that little flame that can't even harm us, because we're such a big body of water, immeasurable. So, not in the esoteric kind of way we should go with the flow, but to perceive our minds as flowing with, as being profound and deep enough and strong enough to carry away all evil, all good and bad, everything that falls into us. We can carry that away and it's gone. But soft, that it can flow around anywhere where it needs to go. So that we can learn from the third example. And then the next one with the cat skin, for years and years, I was wondering, what is he saying? The poor cat skin bag, what is it good for? I didn't understand for a long time. Now I don't know if I understand, but I do have some thoughts about it, at least. And that is, this cat skin bag is like my heart, I thought. It has been destroyed. It has been broken. It has been beaten and hurt so many times. Then I always thought, that is the end. This has destroyed me. But it never did. It softened it, just like the cat skin bag. It just made the heart so much softer in the end. So I think this is the meaning, actually, of this simile, that we shall make ourselves, our hearts, like a cat skin bag that never, ever, whatever you do to it, it has been beaten and it has been treated so much so that it is now soft. And there's no way whatsoever to make it hard again. So this is what we can learn from the fourth simile. So now there are so many comments already. I'm trying to ignore them. But now I'm going to see what we have. So yes, we were with the fake it till you make it. And that is not the way. Ayyā, we must... So let me just... Ayyā, we must develop immeasurable loving kindness towards all beings and be forgiving with all beings out of great compassion, since we can all act out ignorance. Yes, we all, one time or the other, will act out of ignorance, out of hatred, or out of greed, because we have not entirely abandoned these things. So, yes, we have loving kindness for ourselves for not being perfect, and in the same way for anybody else for not being perfect yet. Then, when we need to guard our speech with mindfulness, awareness, and noble wisdom, that would be great. If that was possible always, then yes, if that would be possible always, the world would be much a better place. But since that is not so, the world is not like it. Beings, especially human beings, are not like that. So it needs to start where we are. I understand the ideals of this sutta, and I would have a hard time undertaking this training. I'm a Black American, and people who look like me have been physically harmed and killed by the US system. Yes, so the worst has happened to you. I hope, deeply, deeply hope, that it was the worst already that happened to you. Not to you personally, but to every Black and Native American person. This is so heartbreaking. And this is what, in the end, hopefully makes your heart softer and not harder. I can understand if not, to be honest, yes. But in any ways, hatred is never an answer, even if you're physically harmed, and even if your people have been killed by numbers incomprehensive. There is no way other than to learn forgiveness, because you have to start and you have to be greater. The others do not know. They cling to their ignorance. They cling to their hate speech. It still starts with you. And as hard as this sounds, but yeah. So here it continues. Is this training intended for lay people or just monastics? Is there a role for physical self-defense in order to protect my bodily safety? Well, I think this is a training for everyone who feels strong enough in their heart to start that training. I started doing that training, say, a few years back. I was impressed by the Brahma Viharas as a young woman already. But yeah, I couldn't. And even most of the monastics wouldn't be ready to do this training. And I'm not sure that I would be ready when it comes to it. But a few years back, I took, say, a wish in front of my teacher. And I said that I want to react only from one of the Brahma Viharas to everything that is coming towards me. And I'm trying since then. It's a try. It's never, you don't have to be perfect. That is the first thing that you should make yourself understand, that that having loving kindness for yourself starts with not pushing you to boundaries that you cannot possibly survive or endure. For the physical self-defense, no. For monastic, there isn't. But I think in a situation like yours, if there is a way, I wouldn't know which, but if there is a known way that you can defend yourself and protect yourself from physical harm, then I would say use it, of course. Because if you are not harmed, you're not afraid. And when you're not afraid, then you wouldn't deepening your fears, and with the fears, the dosa, the possibility, or the underlying tendency of aggression and aversion. Ayyā, is this also because we have a sense of ego and self, that we take offense with others and speech with other speech and actions? That is the one and only reason. Yes, if we wouldn't have that ego that comes along with greed, hatred, and delusion, we wouldn't react like that. Then could I physically defend myself with all the loving kindness I can muster up, rather than from an intention of harm, revenge, and vengeance? Yes, absolutely. I think if you learn to be stable within yourself and go through the world with loving kindness within, with a peace within you, then people would most probably not even want to harm you. Often it is that people see you as a victim or seeing victims. And the Buddha had so much love and compassion within him that even when he faced a killer, he made that killer turn around. And he made this killer not kill him, the Buddha, but never ever kill anybody again. So I do believe that real loving kindness can transform even the people around us. But for that, in an environment that is difficult, you need to be really strong. I mean, not just a little bit loving kindness and say, I have metta for everybody. I'm not a friend of that anyways. You know, of that kind of meditation. You sit there and say, I have loving kindness for myself. I have loving kindness for whosoever. And you sit there and have really deep-rooted anger. That's not the point. I mean, it is better because you're thinking and trying to implement metta. You're thinking of and trying to implement metta in that moment. But for me to look at what is still there, the hatred, would be the first thing. So for me, vipassana would come first, to see what deep-rooted greed, hatred, and delusion there really are before we really can start to put loving kindness, compassion, and all these wonderful things into place. So I would think that we're not coming to meditate today. Just my input. Even the monastic rules allow for self-defense, especially to stop an attack. This is about not letting their hate into your mind. Exactly, Joseph. Self-defense, so much so that we calm down the situation and calm down stop the attack, if that were possible. I mean, there are stories. I remember one of a Tibetan story that I read once in a book, that there was a great meditator woman, and she was wandering in the hills somewhere, and 4 men came and wanted to rape her and harm her, and she taught them. So they didn't come to it because she had so much loving kindness and compassion for them. In fact, we can not use weapons whatsoever. Monks are not allowed by their Patimokkha rules to take knives or weapons with them. So self-defense is really, really coming from a stable mind rather than physical action. Dear Ayyā, any advice on how to avoid that slight irritation or not so slight irritation from arising, especially when one is tired? How to bring up a wholesome mind while tired? I can relate to that question very, very much soon. This after lunch, I was so tired, and people were coming, and Ayyā, I have a question. Ayyā, can I just speak for you? And I just wanted to rest and prepare for the guided meditation, which I couldn't, which even it won't be able to do. But yeah, these situations are our best and greatest teachers. They are not that threatening. They are not life-threatening, but they are really disturbing. And with this, we can really train well to overcome that slight or not so slight irritation and make that resolve to react or act out of loving kindness, to really act it out and really take our own wishes back. Because I could do without resting. Maybe this talk would be more brilliant if I had rested, but it is what it is. So it might be good enough. So it was okay with just having loving kindness enough so that I could give them what they needed. And I think when we try not to have so much sense of self that I say, no, now let me rest, and I want my sleep, or I want my rest before the talk, but to just politely speak with everybody who wants to speak, then that is a good training. And that is my advice. Do not avoid these situations. Go right into them and try to develop as much loving kindness and as much as you can. And if somebody talks to you and you fall asleep, well, then it was not possible in a different way. But anyway, so there are more comments. Thank you for your compassion and mindfulness. I am deeply touched, even though this medium I can feel. I'm trying to. By preventing someone from harming me, doesn't that help them by decreasing their opportunity to get? Yes, absolutely, that does. That is as you say. Okay. Hello from friends. Oh yes, I do hope that too. Karma is based on intent. Intent is all that makes karma. Are you speaking about not being able to do the guided meditation today? But we come to it next week, promise. It's not that I didn't want to do it. We actually would have done the 4 immeasurables, and we will do that next time. How to meditate in a very noisy environment. I'm a beginner. Use the noise as a meditation object. That is what I briefly can say. If you say, for example, hearing, as long as there is a sound. I did that for months. Almost nothing but hearing, and angry. That is a good meditation also. It's a little bit an awkward an unwanted, unwelcome meditation object. But once you get into the groove of having that as your object, then it works well. Thank you. That is a good way, a good wish to follow, to close for today. Thank you, Jita, and everybody who has been here for listening. Thank you, everybody, for practicing the Dhamma. Bye bye. Be well, everyone.